Welcome to Touched and Empowered, a show created to empower individuals to value their lives by hosting think tank discussions that will inspire positive action. Touched and Empowered with Katie and Ace starts now.
Thank you, everybody, for listening this week on Touched and Empowered. We've actually decided to create a few things to keep us afloat after so many episodes of recording. We've actually created, we've actually created 4 pillars for our branding. If anybody understands personal branding or any type of branding for any business, you have to have 4 characteristics that kind of keep you stable, that really show your audience who you are and you can be identified as. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to our lovely Katie to explain what our 4 pillars are.
Well, that's the fun thing about it, is because we were talking about, well, what are they? And then we actually had to look up the words to find out what the definitions were. And then to find out there's like 30 some definitions for some of these words. So we had to figure out which definition we wanted to use.
Yes.
So especially when we were first talking about this one, we first started with dignity. And you and I both had very different definitions when we first talked about it. Which I thought was very interesting. And I know the definition that I thought dignity meant was based off of limiting beliefs from when I was a child. But we found, looking it up, that it's the quality or state of being worthy of esteem or respect, poise and self-respect. And I do like that a lot because, you know, it's holding ourselves accountable.
Yeah.
For what we say and what we do. And I think that really, you know, after we've discussed it, I really think that rings true for what it is that we do on this podcast.
100%. I think, you know, to value your own life, which is exactly what we're empowering others to do, walking with that self-respect is crucial. The moment that you cross that line of self-respect, you're not going to feel empowered.
True. And all it takes is just that little bit of, actually not even a little bit, it's just to remember you were born worthy. Yes. How do we know you're here?
Yes, thank you. I like that. Yeah. Very accurate.
Another one on the list, which is authenticity, which we both believe in this one. It's true to one's own personality, spirit, or character.
Yeah.
And I definitely think that both of us truly believe in being 100% honest about who we are, what we do, and holding space for others to do the same.
Yeah, I agree. Everything from the funny mishaps to my screen freezing to the helicopters in the background. Thank you, Nicole. To everything that's just honestly and just so real and authentic. We're doing our best not to hide that. And you know, I found that when we do that, other people feel pulled to do the same.
Right.
Yeah. Those who are engaged in our interviews, or for those listeners out there, please let us know how we've inspired you to take a different action after listening to us. Like that, you know, the sneeze.
The sneeze heard round the world. Thank you very much, Brian.
Yep, that was reaffirmed right there. Right there. There it is. Tell us how maybe you decided to wear your hair differently. Maybe you decided to, I don't know, like embrace the fact that maybe you love unicorns and you decided to wear a unicorn hat the next day. Things of that nature. Let us know. We really want to hear things like that.
And the other part of it that ties so closely to authenticity is sincerity, which is the quality or the state of being sincere, honest of mind, and freedom of hypocrisy. And that ties in so closely with being authentic because you can't hold yourself in a state of authenticity if you're being hypocritical of other people.
Yeah, it never works.
It doesn't work.
Nope. Nope.
So if to have one, you have to have the other. To be authentic, you have to be sincere.
Yep. And I think I mentioned this to you before, Katie, and I probably said this on a previous episode. Funsies, right? The funsies part about sincerity. Sincerity is actually incredibly powerful. So when you're being sincere and then you're being authentically real who you are, and you're also being in this state of just non-hypocrisy, right?
Yeah.
I think I told you one of my biggest weaknesses is lying. Like I'm awful at it. You can catch me on the lie. People have caught me on lies. See, reaffirmed. People have caught me on my lies, especially when I was a child. And eventually I was just like, you know what, instead of dealing with the fear of something trying to, you know, like covering up a lie, I just ended up putting more of my energy and being more and more and more honest.
It is because it's
mind.
And it's so exhausting to try. There's no such thing as a little white lie. Because you have to remember it and then make sure you're consistent with it. It's such a waste of energy. It's so much easier just to be honest up front. And that is a lesson that I am still learning. Because that's not how I was raised. Well, I can't say that. It's not the examples I grew up with.
Also, it's sometimes really easy to just play off something and wear a mask, right? Like it's so easy, instead of going into the confrontation of this is actually how I truly feel, and then getting tired of having to actually refute whatever somebody else wants you to actually be, or anything of that nature, right? That can get really exhausting. But if you do it firmly with conviction 3 times, just wait after the 3rd time they stop.
It's also breaking free of autopilot.
Exactly.
We've all done it. We've all done it. Have a great day. You too. It's just a brush off comment versus actually saying, I hope you have your best day ever.
Best day ever.
Saying something that's going to make them stop and be like, oh, right. Let's have a great day. Because we're so used to having these throwaway comments. Be sincere in what you say, and you'll be surprised at the reactions that you get.
See, best day ever. Like that.
That's one of the things that I'm working on.
It's become so much more fun. Just whenever I hear something that's striking, I used to go into the autopilot of when your eyes are glazed, you're like, oh yeah, I had a good day. I'm doing okay. I'm all right. Thank you very much. How's your day? You're doing good? No, that's fine. Awesome. Great. Yeah.
I'm fine.
Versus I hear this internal scream that I want to let out now. Like that's so freaking authentically sincere and honest and in your face true. No. All right, ladies and gentlemen, how many people out there are actually in that phase where they were like, I need to scream because I understand today?
Well, we do. And that's the 4th part. We've played with the word as to what we would use, because it is all about the humor and having fun and playing. And I think the word we settled on was, what was it? Felicity? The feeling or state of well-being and contentment.
Yeah. Remember that show in the 90s?
No.
It was called
I knew that there was a TV show called Felicity, but I can't tell you anything about that show. Probably because it was not something I was allowed to watch.
I never watched it. Oh, you didn't watch it? You weren't allowed to watch it?
It probably fell underneath the whole list of things that I was not allowed to watch.
See, okay, yeah. This was on the WB, ladies and gentlemen, and this girl had thicker and big, very voluminous, curly hair. And I have no idea what the premise of the entire story was. That's all I remember. And then I remember Felicity, and then I remember the like the opening music, and that's it. That's all I remember from that show. Because I was more interested in watching Buffy. But yeah.
Exactly. I would have been more interested in watching Buffy too, because I'm all about vampires. But that's beside the point. What it is that I couldn't even watch Buffy then. I had to wait until after I was out of the house, married, and then got to watch Buffy on reruns.
I was 8.
Honey, we grew up in different worlds. We've already discussed it on so many episodes that we grew up in different worlds.
But that's also why. All right. So just to give everybody an understanding of how this ties back to the 4 pillars, this is why it works. When you have funny perspectives that are different, I feel like it's not the compare game. We don't need to do that.
It's the joy of the quirks that the other one has. And it really is just having fun with it and realizing that you can't do this wrong. Well, yeah, you can't do this wrong. I'm just going to own it. We cannot do this wrong. We are just being open and honest and having conversations and expressing our truth.
Yeah.
And we ask that of our guests, and eventually we want everyone listening to be a guest on the show. So then that way they can express their truth.
100%. See how many times I'm expressing my truth through the different types of hairstyles we're trying to figure out right now? Authenticity, right there. You can't do it wrong, especially if you change it 3 or 4 times.
We're just trying to find the right hairstyle for Ace today. We've done the hair up, we've done the hair down, we've done it off to the side. Yes, it is unfortunately very warm and hot outside. In fact, we found out that I was told that it's going to be like in the 90s all this upcoming week, where I am in Maryland. Yeah, in Maryland. And my office does not have air conditioning.
Oh my heavens.
So it's going to be a very warm week for me, melting in my office. Going to be the Wicked Witch. Melting. I'm melting.
Is that why I look like Glinda right now? Just with the frost, the white, I'm not wearing any pink.
Trying to bring a little winter energy to this heat that's coming our way.
Oh my goodness. So, all right. To bring into the authenticity and the sincerity and
the felicity and the dignity
of this show, right, folks? As you can tell, we have pre-recorded most of our episodes. And I just wanted to share that with you. As we, if there's any remarks of like, it is 90 degrees and it's freaking December for you and you're listening to this now, right? That is why.
Truth. But there's a reason for that. And the reason for that is right now, our schedules do not align to where we can do live podcasts.
Yeah, not yet.
Not yet. That will change.
It will.
It will. No, okay, I heard it. It will change. There will be times where we will be able to do live podcasts. I don't know when, but I know that it's a possibility, and I know that it's coming.
Oh my! So I should probably tell the people that produce podcasts that we're doing this. So
because it'll probably be one of those spur of the moments. Let's hop on a Facebook Live or on a YouTube Live and do a spur of the moment podcast versus, I don't know, maybe we'll plan to do a live podcast on a certain date or something. Who knows?
Who knows? We got, it's not DuckDuckGo. What's that thing that people use? The duck?
StreamYard?
Yeah.
DuckDuckGo. Okay.
Yes. Yes, StreamYard. There's a logo with a duck on it.
Yes, it is a logo with a duck on it. And DuckDuckGo is an internet browser search engine that has nothing to do with podcasting.
I'm turning red because I just remember like the first image I thought in my mind was the StreamYard logo that has a duck on it, right?
Yep.
So
duck with headphones.
That's why I'm like, is it DuckDuckGo? Like what?
This podcast is being brought to you by the duck.
Whack.
No. We are not affiliated with Aflac.
I'm so sorry. I forgot you used to work with them, right? I'm so sorry.
No, I did not used to work for Aflac.
Oh, okay.
But I just want to make sure that no one comes to us saying, so you're affiliated with that. No, we are not affiliated.
We're not affiliated. We're just throwing out the brand because it's funny. My sister used to have the Aflac duck.
Oh my gosh.
And she loved it. She loved this duck. Like, she would just have this duck. And whenever she just felt like being quirky, she would press the freaking button. And I would just hear, Aflac. Like, everyone.
Okay. I did not own the Aflac duck. I had the little Taco Bell Chihuahua. Yo quiero Taco Bell.
All right, so we're putting both of these on from Amazon in the comments. The Taco Bell and the duck. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to purchase these items in Amazon, the links will be below. Yes.
And yes, I'm pretty sure that we can connect with StreamYard if we wanted to stream live. If not, my Zoom account allows us to stream live into Facebook. We don't need any other service at this particular moment in time. That being said, research will be needed to see if it is a possible substitute. I get to play with technology.
Yes. Woohoo! She is our technology wizard because my brain has gone out the window with technology. I used to be really good at this stuff. I used to. And then I just started, pouring more into being honest.
Well, there's also a reason why I have a little bit more of a knack. And it's because it was one of the only ways I knew how to support the Teen Suicide Prevention Society and my mom's business when I was furloughed, was to do the back office tech support, learn how to build the landing pages, the websites, the funnels, the email sequences, and all of that stuff. Because I sure as heck did not want to be teaching my mom's content. So what else can I do to help support? Well, this was something I could do where I would not be bored. Never tell your parents that you want something to do so you will not be bored. You will still be doing it years later.
So fun facts, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't even get the chance to say that to my parents.
You're very lucky.
I don't, no. No? Because I still do everything that they need me to do anyway. There was no in between of that. That was just like, hey, you're around. That means you don't have free time. What's free time for you? Come help me with the printer. Like that's what that means. Okay.
Yeah, I can see that because I still do that for my in-laws. I do that for my husband, his uncle and aunt, anything. Oh, we can't get the cell phone to work. Help us figure out how to fix it, kind of deal.
Right.
Which, yeah. You know what? And that's okay. For me, I was furloughed. I was bored, and I just happened to be on a phone call with my mom and opened my mouth because I was too lazy to look for something else to do. And that was the mindset that I was in at that moment in time.
I'm really grateful you can take ownership of it.
It was not everyone easy. Would. It's not easy getting there. But I realized that at that particular moment in time, I was still devastated from being furloughed from my corporate job. I couldn't believe, I'd been with the company 14 years. I couldn't believe that they had furloughed. I mean, granted, it was all because of COVID and everything else like that, which later led to the dissolving of my position and termination. But during all of that, I was so tied up in losing that part of my identity that it was easier for me to say, Mom, give me something to do, than for me to look for something that I was excited to do.
That makes sense. So that's fair. And I also want to give my parents a little bit of slack. Just so my parents aren't dependent on me. They're actually really smart. And they actually like being independent too. They actually like figuring things out on their own, which is interesting. I came home, when the iPhone started coming out, right?
Yeah.
And, our adult parents that are used to, dial up and landlines, I was like, oh, when I get home, that means I have to tutor my mom and her phone. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm just like emotionally prepping myself, when I go to visit her. And I get there and I see her on her phone, headphones plugged in, listening to YouTube, playing a game. And I'm like, what the? She was like, I went to a workshop. I was
like, and I will give credit. My mom is doing a lot more, taking over her business. I am not doing nearly as much tech support for my mom's business and the teen suicide that I was doing before, because my mom's business has grown and we now have more assistance for the Teen Suicide Prevention Society. It's not just myself, my mom, and my two sisters. We've grown a little bit. Yay!
Yay!
Yeah. But with that, it's now, so what is it that Katie wants to do? We get to do more of these. We get to do more podcasts. I get to talk more. I'm being invited to talk on more summits. I am getting to just have more fun and rediscover what it is that I want to do in my life.
Yay! And we are also in conversations with some fun possibilities in the future. We will give you word of that soon.
Once we have a little bit more information and can say yes to that. But the one thing that I will say is that a lot of new possibilities have opened up. And I truly believe that these possibilities are open only because of the self-growth and the willingness to be open to conversations. And the possibilities.
Yes.
Because I did not think that I was going to be doing a podcast that had more than 5 episodes. And we are well past 5 episodes right now.
Oh yeah, it was funny when Katie and I, there's a good reflective moment, right? Like when Katie and I first thought about doing a podcast together, right? Katie had one. She had one. I was being asked left and right to do a podcast some way, somehow, and then nothing was like really clicking for me. I was like, I don't want to, this isn't right. There's another podcast out there that has no episodes with my name on it.
Okay, mine at least I think has 5.
That's great. And then because we had such a like in alignment idea, like it was the coolest synchronistic thing, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't have the name, but I had the idea. I had the possible people we were going to interview. I had like the framework. And then there were certain things I couldn't decide. Like I mentally was blocked to decide. And then Katie came in with the name and everything I didn't have.
It just happened to work out because I was toying with the idea of doing a podcast around people who were touched by something that instead of being a victim, they chose to be empowered by it, which is how Touched and Empowered came about. But I didn't want to do a podcast by myself, and finding people to interview by myself was daunting, which is why my original podcast, Adulting Sucks, But It Doesn't Have to. Yes, you can still find that. There's only a few episodes on there. And it's because I struggled to find people that I could interview that related to the fact that you don't have to struggle being an adult. You can have fun with it.
Yeah, 100%. And I remember you saying that. And that was something that I was like, I know how to do that.
Your networking skills have helped out greatly because I don't have to try and find people for our podcast. So thank you.
Very, very welcome. Thank you for all your technical support and skills, because that stuff I couldn't do that.
I think it's the fact that we both realized that this is something that we wanted to do, but we didn't want to learn the parts that we were uncomfortable with. So we partnered with somebody who does.
Yep. Thank you, Nicole.
Partnered with the experts. Yeah. Find somebody that is in alignment with your pillars, your core values, your personality quirks.
Yeah. And I have to tell you, Katie. It is actually really hard to find those. It actually is. Like once you kind of discover what your values are, and you're kind of strong in those, like once you really clarify what those values are, you will attract those values. The thing is, all right, so that's a hack right there. That will save you so much business. So much business. And if you want to work with me to figure out what that is, I'll put that link in the below, down there below as well. But essentially, those values, once you clarify that, you will bring the people that you want to work with. It does take a lot of knowing yourself, though. Like, if you sit there and you're like, can I settle with somebody who's just arrogant?
No.
Can I settle with somebody that
is strong-minded
or someone that is not on board with suicide prevention? That's really not going to work. No.
We both truly believe, and everyone that we've spoken with and everyone that I know that we are going to speak with, that we as humanity need to raise the positivity level of the planet and be there to support each other in every way possible, because none of us are victims unless we choose to sit in that thought process.
Yeah. And I want to say, thank you, Katie, for saying that. I have to say, like, do you know how many people don't know that they're in the victim mindset?
I'm not even going to guess, because I'm probably going to be wrong. But I'm not saying that there aren't victims of circumstance, that there aren't nasty things that happen in the world where people are a victim. But you can choose to hold on to that negative energy, or you can choose to do a data reset.
Yes.
And turn it around and use it to empower you.
Yes. So let's dive into what that is, not just in theory. I know that it sounds like what Katie is saying, and a lot of that is going to resonate with our audience. What I want to clarify and understanding is I've been just coming across a lot of people in the victim mindset, and I've been biting my tongue, trying to be really nice, because that mindset is actually really hard to let go of. Like, it's really hard to realize that you have the power to break out of the thing that's stopping you from taking responsibility for your life. There's a lot of people that are like, I grew up this way, that way, and this is why. This is like, these are the circumstances I'm stuck in. Because of these people, I did this. Because of because of authority, because of leader, right? Because of
whatever.
Right. And I'm not saying that if a event happens, that it doesn't suck.
True.
If somebody came to me and told me that, they were a victim, air quotes, victim of, let's say, domestic abuse, right? That does not invalidate the fact that they went through the suffering and the pain.
True.
But they have all the power, especially with support, to get out of that situation and live a better life.
Yes, and there are tons and tons and tons of examples of people who have been a victim of an automobile accident, for example, and were physically injured, yet they overcame that injury and learned to walk again. There are people who were victims of circumstance in their youth, either being abused or trafficked or whatever, and they chose to become advocates for a better living by helping others who are in that circumstance find that they can move on and have a productive and prosperous life.
Yeah, 100%. And that it's, there was somebody who, I like white people. We're going to say that. There's equality here.
Just to clarify.
This one guy came up to me. We were just having a conversation over business, and they were opening up to me, and I appreciate them opening up to me. But he was like, ugh, I get it. I'm white. I'm privileged, blah, 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 blah. Right? And then he was like, woe is me, my bad. I should probably be doing better with my life. And then he didn't tell me what he was going to do better. Like they said,
heck.
Yeah, that. And I sat there and I listened to them and I went, is that it? Is that the end of your spiel, sir? And they looked at me and they're like, I was just like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, there's a definition of privilege that not many people understand.
True.
When you're in a state like that, I get it. Having an understanding of what your purpose and mission is really hard. I get that, especially if things are easy in that space. But here's the thing. If you're at a level where you can output even more energy than you're worried about, like, I don't know, breaking the mold of your stereotype, whatever. Privilege comes with responsibility. You have an elevated state of being or set of resources that you can do to help everyone. In my opinion, if you are air quotes privileged, which I found out a couple of days ago that some of my friends thought I was, that means there is a higher level of responsibility to give back, in my opinion. That means I can build things. That means I can bring in a network for this podcast. That means I can take something and change something that other people are suffering in, not coming from a place of high, like, you know, a high charity type of thing, but more of like, no, somebody opened doors for me, therefore I'm allowed to open doors for others.
Right. It's more along the line of you having the knowledge of potential resources that somebody might not be aware of. And I don't like how it's quote unquote privileged, because I don't think that is the right word, but I think that's just the word that society is using for that mentality, that it seems like you were given everything.
Yeah,
and
what
you
is
didn't
the
have
definition
to work
of
for it.
Right? What's the definition of privilege? Because if people thought I didn't have to work for this, there's a I'm going to tell you I worked for this. There's a few episodes where I talked about how much I worked for this. Okay. And it's not even how much I worked for the resources. It's how much I worked to build this character. Please.
Join us next week as Katie and Ace talk more about the 4 pillars that they have established for Touched and Empowered. Thank you for joining us. We hope that the discussion today will inspire you to take positive action in your life. Until next week, be empowered.